On order, on air. I hope the rest of the meeting goes better than that introduction. At any rate, thank you for joining us. We will start this afternoon with the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation by Mrs. Guzman.
Eternal Father, in the shared spaces of governance, we humbly gather seeking your divine wisdom. Guide us, O Lord, as we deliberate over the issues of our city. Empower our discernment. Illuminate our judgments and plans with your insights. May we steward this civic responsibility diligently and create a beacon city for all. With hopeful hearts, we seek your grace for better judgment. May you be reflected and glorified first and foremost. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain please remain standing for a moment of silence for all those who have served, and I am terribly sorry. I am not functioning real well right now. Excuse me. Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our servicemen and women who have fought and died for our freedom, and for all those who continue to serve around the world, protecting our way of life. Thank you. Good thing there's a light turnout today. Okay, I'll now call this meeting to order. This is a City of Hardeeville regular City Council meeting and public hearing, 205 Main Street, Hardeeville, South Carolina, Thursday, September 4th, 2025 at 4 p.m. We now have to approve the agenda. May I have a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to the agenda this afternoon?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Next, executive session. Discussion of negotiations incident to proposed contractual arrangements in accordance with South Carolina Code of Law 30-4-78-2, land acquisition in the Main Street area. And B, discussion of employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, or release of an employee, a student, or a person regulated by a public body in accordance with South Carolina Code of Law 30-4-70A1, personnel matter, city attorney performance review. Council may take action in open session on matters discussed in executive session. May I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we will go into executive session and start the public session promptly at 5 p.m. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Oh, are we on air? Okay, I see the sign. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We have already opened our meeting, and so we've had the invocation and pledge of allegiance, and we have had our executive session. So now what we need to do is return to the regular meeting from executive session. May I have a motion to return to regular meeting?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are now back in regular session. Next is public comments. Ms. Cindy, do we have anyone signed up?
No, sir.
Okay. Next, we have public presentation, introduction of revenue specialist Samantha Longacre.
Yes, sir. John, why don't you do the honors?
Okay, it looks like you were planning on doing
No,
it.
please, go right ahead.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Good afternoon.
About 6 weeks ago, Samantha Longacre, she goes by Sam, joined us. She came to us very highly recommended by some people who were already on staff. She jumped right in. She hit the floor running. All of those cliches are true. And she wanted to do about 2 or 3, maybe 4 minutes of her background and her history.
But no pressure.
So, she had a script, but she's been studying it all day. I think she's going to wing it. So, here, please, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I'm Samantha Longacre. Happy to be an employee of the city of Hardyville. I moved to the Hardyville Bluffton area a little over a year ago, and my husband and I are very happy to be here.
Terrific. Where are you from?
Originally from Pennsylvania, and then we moved to Florida for just under 2 years. And now we came came to South Carolina, and I understand that now I'm a halfback.
Oh, what part of Pennsylvania?
The southeastern corner, a little town called Oxford.
Southeastern?
Southeastern. Down where Delaware, Maryland.
Oh, yeah. I was born in my early life in Philadelphia, so that's why I asked. But I've never heard of that town, so.
It's a little town.
Okay, great. Well, council, any comments or questions for Sam?
Just welcome.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Happy to be here.
So excited to have you.
Next, we have the presentation and approval of minutes
Have a good night.
from August 21st, 2025, regular city council meeting. May I have a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to the minutes of August 21st?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from August 21st, 2025.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second, any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, old business, this
Mayor.
is second reading.
As a point of order, I understand that there was a request from council to receive update on some information regarding the status of various road projects. I didn't know if now would be before we started old business and new business, or if you wanted to take that up later.
I think it would be appropriate in your comments
Gotcha.
section.
Perfect, thank you.
But that way we don't have to change the agenda.
Yes, sir.
Next, we have second reading of an ordinance approving the transfer of certain real estate and associated infrastructure located on such property and authorizing the city manager to execute documents necessary. This is property rights with Beaufort, Jasper, Water, and Sewer, necessary for Exit 8. And this is second reading. It is ordinance 2025-08-21A. Mr. Gruber, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. This item, once approved, would allow the transfer of property owned by the city to Beaufort Jasper Water and Sewer Authority, specifically for the purposes of installing a sewer lift station as part of the Exit 8 sewer project. And so, again, in order to transfer property, we have to adopt an ordinance, and in order to purchase property, we just have to take a vote.
Okay. And we did pass this first reading at our last meeting. Let's start with public hearing. Does the public have any comments or questions regarding this transfer? You're distracting me.
Me too, I was trying to follow it.
I just got ripped. Okay, so nobody from the public, so I'm gonna make you go first, Mrs. Guzman.
I have no questions.
Oh, okay. Mr. White?
No questions.
Mr. Carroll?
No questions.
I have no questions, I fully understand it and asked the questions last time, so we can go right to a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to the second reading of ordinance 2025-08-21A.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve on second reading ordinance 2025-08-21A.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed. Okay, that ordinance is now official. We go into new business, which is first reading of an ordinance of the City of Hardyville to amend section 2-41, emergency powers of council of the Hardyville Code of Ordinance to authorize the mayor to declare a local state of emergency without prior council approval, subject to time limitations and conditions and other matters related thereof. This is ordinance 2025-09-04A. Mr. Gruber, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a staff-generated ordinance change. And really the purpose of it is in looking at our existing language. That language was created in at least as late as 1983. And so it does not really take into account current technologies or practices for things like cell phones, virtual meetings, and the like. And so what we have written and introduced as part of this amendment really is not to change our practices, but it's really to just reflect what our current practices are. And so what that is it gives you, the mayor, the unilateral authority to declare a state of emergency. And I know I've talked with you all kind of individually about this, but it's a good opportunity for folks to understand. For some, storm events and natural disasters, we have the ability to prepare ahead of time. So if we're dealing with a hurricane, typically 3, 5, even 7 days out, we can have an idea that, hey, this is something that we may need to respond to, and we can go ahead and start taking actions before the event occurs. My concern is there are some disasters that could occur. A hurricane's a great example of, not a hurricane, a tornado is a great example of one, and then a train derailment could be an example of another one that we would not have any time for. And we go straight from the event occurring into response and recovery mode. And so in looking at what that would really kind of play out, we've crafted this language to say the mayor has the authority to declare a state of emergency without the consultation of council. However, that state of emergency can only last for a maximum of 7 days. If there is no action taken by council, the state of emergency would expire at that point. But during that 7-day period, we would call council into a special meeting, possibly virtually, possibly in person, depending upon the circumstances. But at that meeting, you would have an opportunity to be briefed on the nature of the disaster, what our response efforts are regarding it, and then you would have the ability as a whole council to vote to either extend the state of emergency beyond the 7-day period, or you could vote to rescind the state of emergency immediately if you didn't think the circumstances warranted that declaration. So again, not trying to really change anything all that much, but just trying to update our language to reflect what we believe our actual current practices would be in responding to a storm event.
And Josh, I think point out also to the council, it is when, and there's a caveat in here, if it is unsafe or impractical to convene a meeting. So if it, That's the caveat, so it's only if it's, like you said, it's a train derailment or that a hurricane's about to drop on us, that we don't have time to convene a meeting. So that means, by contrast, right, if you have time, it has to come for council vote. Do I interpret that right?
You are absolutely correct, and it's not to say that you wouldn't be notified. So, my goal as the administrator is, once I know of a situation, is to notify you all, hey, this is going on. So you're gonna get a phone call from me to say, this is the issue, this is the extent of the response that we're gonna have to deal with, and that way you're aware of it so that you're gonna learn about it from us rather than reading about it in the newspaper. The issue becomes trying to get a quorum established, get a notice published, and then facilitate an actual council meeting in that short time frame.
Right.
So please know that you will be in the loop, you will know what's going on, you will have access to me during that time. But what we need is the ability for the mayor to take action, just immediately declare a state of emergency, because that gives us the best opportunity in trying to get those expenses recovered if we are able to submit to either the state or federal government for reimbursement of those expenses.
Okay, so what we'll do now is open it up for public comment. Does anyone from the public have any comments or questions regarding this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll ask for council comments or questions and start with Mr. Carroll.
No, sir, and I had talked to Josh a little bit about it and expressed a little something to you yesterday about it, so I don't have any more questions.
Yeah, that's why I pointed out that paragraph when I had that conversation. Mr. White?
No questions.
Mrs. Guzman?
I have no questions, sir.
My question has already been answered, so we have had public comment and council comment, so I will now ask for a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to the first reading of ordinance 2025-09-04A.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve, first reading, ordinance 2025-09-04A.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, second reading will be in 2 weeks. First reading of an ordinance to amend the municipal zoning and development ordinance, the MZDO, section 7.2.f. Notice for applications. This is 2025-09-04B. I will point out that we did discuss this in a workshop already, but Mr. Gruber, any further information that we should know about?
Yes, sir. So coming out of that workshop, council asked for a couple of things. One, we have made the language so that the requirement is that both certified mail and regular mail notices will go out to property owners. That way, if they're unwilling to sign for the certified notice, they would still receive it otherwise in the mail as just a general piece of mail. We've also then included some language that looks at if they're, so we're looking at expanding the radius that they have to notify adjacent property owners for a situation where it's a very large piece of property that may not have adjoining property owners in close proximity to it. We've put language in there that staff will determine what notices need to go out to try and make sure that the adjoining property owners are notified. So we're basically covering ourselves both ways. It's either going to be a 500-foot radius or as required by staff based upon the circumstances to accomplish your intent of providing that notice to adjoining landowners. But those were the two things that were coming out of the workshop that we've made sure to incorporate in the first draft.
Okay. I'll now ask the public if you have any comments or questions, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, we'll go to council and Mrs. Guzman first.
I have no questions, sir. I had some questions with the city manager, and he explained everything, and I'm satisfied with that, so no more questions.
Mr. White?
My suggestion, Josh, or wish would be that in these kinds of communications, we go to the maximum. We turn over every rock. We don't have the minimum communication plan here. We have the maximum because people deserve that. And if we don't do that, I think it makes us look foolish when an issue does come up. So I would be in favor of overdoing it in a sense rather than underdoing it.
Yes, sir. And I will tell you, I'm very much of that same opinion. If you adopt what is presented before you this evening, because again, we've done a comparative analysis of other jurisdictions, particularly around the Low Country, but even across the state, I will almost, I don't want to guarantee it, but I would put money on it that if we adopt what is before you this evening, we will have some of the most stringent notice standards in the state of South Carolina.
We're at the front of the line, it
Yes,
sounds
sir.
like. Good.
Mr. Carroll?
No questions, I'd also talk to Josh about this.
I made two notes. One, I think we should review our social media protocols in terms of public notices. What we do and what can we do more on social media. And also, I think we should take advantage of Nixle, and going along with that, I'm not sure we've recently had any campaign to get more people signed up to Nixle. So what we're doing is great, but let's not stop there. I guess it goes back to what Mr. White said. Let's overdo it instead of underdo it. So if we can take advantage of social media to get out more notices, and Nixle certainly I think is a wonderful way if people will just sign up. But we could also, if we had a campaign, do you want to know about public hearings? You want to know about stuff? Sign up for Nixle.
Yes, sir, and I think we can accomplish both. So the ordinance that's before you this evening really outlines what the applicant's responsibilities are in terms of notice. What you're talking about with social media and Nixle, those are both things that we control.
Right.
So those are really more staff actions than they are applicant ones, but we can certainly incorporate that to accomplish this goal.
Yeah, that's why I said, let's check our protocols, and if we're not using them for this, perhaps let's
Yes, sir.
analyze whether or not that would be a good thing. Okay, so we've had public comment and we've had council comment, so I am now going to ask for a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes, and this is 202509-04B.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve on first reading ordinance number 202509-04B.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, second reading in 2 weeks. Now, this is a resolution authorizing the transfer of excess water and sewer capacity credits from the city to Beaufort Jasper YMCA. This is resolution 2025-09-04C. Mr. Gruber, please.
Yes, sir. So if you recall that several months ago, we worked with Beaufort Jasper Water and Sewer Authority to update their capacity credit program. As part of that update, going forward, the city's going to receive an allocation of $200,000 per year in capacity credits that we can use for either public infrastructure projects or other qualifying uses. However, in addition to that, we still have what I'm referring to as excess credits. So when the city, who had owned the water and sewer infrastructure in and around the city of Hardeeville, when that system was sold to Beaufort Jasper Water and Sewer Authority, we received an allocated amount of capacity credits that are still active and on the books. They're reflected in terms of thousands of gallons per day in water or wastewater capacity, but that can be converted to a present day value of about $340,000. And so we've been asked by Beaufort Jasper to spend down those credits as possible, knowing that we're moving into this new program where we're going to receive an annual allocation. So we did an examination of all the city's current needs as well as our upcoming needs for our capital projects. We've used those capacity credits to satisfy them, but we still have a pot of credits that we don't otherwise have an intended use for. And so we were approached by the Beaufort Jasper YMCA as part of their development of the new facility in East Argent. They are in the process of having to pay approximately $90,000 in capacity fees in order to tap into the new system for that facility. And so if you're supportive of it, this request would allow us to transfer or donate the equivalent of $90,000 in our existing capacity credits for the YMCA to use for that purpose.
Thank you. We'll now open it up to the public. If the public has any comments or questions regarding this resolution. Seeing none, let's start our questioning with Mr. Carroll.
Well, after that, I guess you say that payment or whatever you wanna say to YMCA, does that prove I wipe it out? What's left?
It does not. So our current balance of these historical credits has a value of about $340,000. Yes.
So we
after the
So we still
90,
have about $250,000 to continue to spend down.
And they don't mind, Beaufort Jasper doesn't mind us having, or they prefer for us to.
They've expressed that they would prefer for us to extinguish those so that we can take them off the books, but it's been carried over for some time now. So we're certainly not on the clock to use them, but as opportunities arise, they would like us to use these.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I had talked, because, I mean, it's, you really have to, on the surface, kind of question it a little bit, but Josh explained it, and I see the overall outcome, so I don't have any more
That
questions.
was a good question. Mr. White?
I think this fits with our long-term view of expanding that and the why and all that, so I think it fits right in there, and it's a good thing to be able to help them from my point of view.
Mrs. Guzman?
And I do agree with my two fellow councilmen. I think it's going to a great entity, and we should do everything we can to help them out, because at the end of the day, it's going to benefit everyone in Jasper County and the city of Hardeeville. So I think it's a great idea.
I've been a big supporter of the Y ever since the land was donated to them, and I think it's a great addition to our city and to our residents. And so any way we can help them. And for those of you who were at Soloco, they gave a presentation. They still have some money to raise to fulfill their obligations. This would certainly help that cause. And also in that presentation, the city of Hardeeville has really been a good contributor, and I commend the city for that. But I do have one question based on that presentation. And this is a question to the why. It has nothing to do with the yes or no vote. But given the fact that we've given credits, perhaps Bluffton has some excess, because they're going to benefit from it as well. I don't know if Beaufort County would have any credits, but if there are other credits from other jurisdictions that could help with this, I don't see anything wrong with asking them.
Sure. I will tell you, I don't know that they have legacy credits because ours came from selling the water and sewer system that we had, but they are participating in the new capacity credit program going forward, and so they'll have an annual allocation that they could use towards this as well. So we can certainly put that out there.
I think, as we saw at Soloco, they have a laundry list of naming, possibilities, so much, you get a room named for you. And maybe that's one way to make that contribution. Okay.
I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking too.
Okay, so let's now have a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to, this is resolution 2025-09-04C.
Got it, John?
Would anybody like to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion.
We have a-
You mean to set the number, Mayor, 2025, I got distracted, sorry, Mayor.
That's okay.
It's Josh's fault. 2025-0821A.
Yeah, I saw him talking while you were thinking.
He was,
Yeah.
The old
Okay.
sign language.
sorry, Mayor.
That's okay.
Mayor, point of order, he said I don't know if it makes a difference, but he used the wrong number.
It's
I'm so sorry.
0904C.
2025-09-04C. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Cindy.
We do what you meant.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That has been approved. Another resolution, the city council of the city of Hardyville describing the Hilton Head Lakes West Argent Municipal Improvement District and the improvement plan for Hilton Head Lakes West. This is 2025-09-04D. Mr. Gruber, please.
Yes, sir. So we've held a workshop last week, and this was one of the items that we talked about. So for the public's benefit, a municipal improvement district is essentially using the city's ability to issue tax-exempt bonds to pay for public infrastructure that will be installed as part of a community or subdivision. In this case, it's within the Hilton Head Lakes West area. So as an initial action in starting to form the municipal improvement district, one of the first steps that you have to take is adopting a resolution identifying and describing the district itself, as well as the improvements that are going to be done using the proceeds of those bonds. So as we've discussed previously, there's going to be several other items for this that are going to come behind it. There's going to be a couple of ordinances to actually borrow the money. But really, this just starts this process. It does not bind the city to ultimately completing it, but it does indicate that we are going down the road of forming a municipal improvement district for the purposes of facilitating the infrastructure development within the Hilton Head Lakes West area. And we've got representatives from the development team here if there are any questions, but this is what we covered during our workshop, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody may have.
Thank you. Let's open it up to the public. Does anyone from the public have any comments or questions? Okay, let's go to the council. Mrs. Guzman, let's start with you.
I don't have any questions per se, but my concern was at the workshop was how the potential buyers were going to be informed that part of this cost was going to be tacked onto their mortgage, and I just want to make absolutely sure that they are informed right off the bat that this is going to be tacked onto their mortgage. That's what bothers me the most.
Yes, ma'am. So in response to that, and I'll probably turn it over here to Prina to give you a better explanation, but in response to that, what we've done is incorporated language that is going to mandatorily require at least the initial developer to ensure that notice is provided to any potential purchaser of a property. Now, once it's been initially sold to somebody, any subsequent transfers wouldn't be covered by that requirement, but at least any initial sales or transfer of property from the development team would have that affirmative obligation in the documents.
Okay, so what you're saying is if there is a resale of that particular property, how will that new owner be aware that this is going to be an additional cost tacked onto their mortgage? How will they find out?
Yeah, and it's gonna be a special assessment, so it's billed annually on their
Okay.
tax bill. So it wouldn't necessarily be on the mortgage. I think because in this instance, there are going to be 2 bonds issued. One of them will be paid off on that initial sale. So technically, you could say that would be part of their purchase price. But the second bond will be spaced out throughout, I believe they're doing 30 years.
Yeah.
So it will be a special assessment annually billed with your annual tax bill. You'll have that extra line on there. One of the requirements, we're working on drafting that language pursuant to the conversations that we had at the workshop. That will require the developer to put this in a recorded condition or covenant. So that way it will run with that land when it is transferred. And then an additional step, the city is utilizing UNICAP as the administrator of the district. At least that's anticipated. You will authorize who your administrator will be later in this process through some additional ordinances, which are required by the state law. And they have a disclosure program that they are also going to do or propose to do for the city, which will include information that's online to where you can go put in your property tax map number, and then you know what that special assessment is attributed to that particular parcel. Because right now you have a lot of larger parcels that will eventually be subdivided.
So we're really trying to belt and suspenders this because we understand how important getting notice to prospective purchasers are. So it's going to be a requirement in our documents. It's going to be recorded in the chain of title. It's going to be included in the covenants and restrictions within the community. And then as the seller themselves, as part of the residential property disclosure, if they have not satisfied that full assessment, they would have to disclose it as well. So there's multiple ways in which a prospector would be notified about this impact.
So after 30 years, that just falls off the books?
Either after 30 years, or they could go ahead and prepay it. If they wanted to just go ahead and pay the entire assessment, there is the ability for them to front load that. So as part of the sale, that could be negotiated into it, that they wouldn't, any subsequent purchaser would not have to pay.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. White?
Josh, what you've described has a lot of moving parts. And it's easy for some of these things to fall by the wayside, although there's all these double check and triple check. And I just think if we're on top of this and have it go smoothly, that's a lot better than learning what we did wrong so it went wrong. And so I think that needs some attention regionally and with the professionals, et cetera.
Yes, sir. And you make an excellent point that we have an existing MID in the East Argent area. And so a lot of the conversations that we're having with Hilton Head Lakes West, and I'll tell you, there are several others that are likely to come behind them asking for their own separate MIDs. So this is going to be something that we're probably going to see a number of requests for. But with what we've seen already in the East Argent area, we're modeling a lot of these things after that because we believe it's working well.
It's good.
Mr. Carroll?
Josh, that, like if somebody had that house or what it be, and they sold it, none of that would be in the documents of the closing attorney?
It would. So when you go to list your home, you have to fill out a residential disclosure form. Has there ever been lead paint, asbestos, has it
That
ever
would be in
flooded?
that, so.
So you gotta identify if there's any special assessments on the property, you have to identify that.
So see, Val, that would be a kind of a second.
That's
Yeah,
that.
and
Yeah.
then, yeah.
And again, it's in the covenants and restrictions, so if you're moving into an HOA regulated community and you're not reviewing the covenants and restrictions before you move to that community, you are asking for a world of hurt.
Wow.
Absolutely, so it's gonna be listed there as well, and then again, in any kind of title search that they would check, it's gonna be recorded in the chain of title. So there are multiple ways in which we are trying to make sure that people are notified.
You just asked my question. Now I don't know.
Telepathy.
Okay. Yeah, because having been through a number of real estate transactions, there's attorney review. And all that stuff's supposed to be in there, and otherwise it's buyer beware, right?
That's it. Now, admittedly, if you've been to closing recently, you know you get handed a stack of documents that are about this
Right.
thick, but it is in there. And so if you take the time to read them, you will certainly be notified about it.
You just have to use on paper instead of stone right there.
Okay, that's it, since Councilman Carroll stole my question. So, let's have a motion then to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to the second reading of ordinance, excuse me, this is a resolution, 2025-09-04D.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve on first reading resolution number 2025-09-04D.
We have a motion, do we have a second? We have a motion, we have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, resolution is approved. Next, we have consideration of request from SALT to share in the cost of underground utilities. Mr. Gruber, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So several weeks ago, the staff has been in contact with representatives from the South Atlantic Logistics Terminal, or SALT, and in conversations with them, we've expressed our desire that right now, power that needs to go to their location is located on the other side of Highway 17. And we've expressed a very strong desire to see the electrical connections come across Highway 17 being undergrounded rather than putting additional poles and aerial lines in the air. And so, in talking with Kate Brown, who's here on behalf of the development team, they had received some initial estimates about what it would cost to just run the power overhead, and it was just shy of about $600,000. Well, in addition to that, if it were to be underground, it adds a little bit, I think about $516,000 in additional expenses to the project. And so in speaking with them, we believe that it would be an appropriate use of some of the development fees that they are paying as part of this project. And I believe cumulatively, that number is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about $3.2 million. And so right now, we don't have any other infrastructure needs that are identified for the use of those funds in that area, given that Highway 17 is already two-laned in both ways. And so we think that this is a very appropriate use of those funds to help ensure, one, that we maintain the air free of obstructions because it looks better from an aesthetic standpoint, and probably more importantly, it allows us to start becoming a little bit more resilient as a community, that if we were to have some kind of storm event, typically communities with lines that are underground can recover faster than communities whose lines are all above ground. And so staff is supportive of this request, but given the dollar values that are involved, we wanted to bring this to you to obtain your thoughts and comments.
Mr. Gruber, before I turn it over, would you please remind the council of previous contributions by SALT from their development fees?
So at this point, I think you've made 2 payments? Yes, so it's a little over $2 million at this point.
Right, so there, just to remind council that there has already been an upfront contribution of $2 million for our use of development fees. I forgot what we used it for.
I was going to say, at this point, I don't know that we've used any of SALT's development fees.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So there has already been some recouping of development fees, so this is in addition to that.
Yes,
so,
sir. And if you would, we'll use these fancy new monitors. If you can scroll down, I asked them to provide a couple of photographs, just kind of helping to identify. So this first photo that you see, this is an example of one of their entrances, and you can see the existing conditions that we are trying to maintain through this area. you don't see any of the power lines crossing overhead, whereas some of the later photos that you'll see that are further on down this corridor, they do show overhead lines in place. This is the second entrance, and then the next one is their third entrance, and power to this location is going to need to be brought to all three entrances, hence the significant cost. And then if you keep going down, you can see, yeah, those are examples of some of the other lines that do cross. And again, it may seem like somewhat of a minor issue, but I am a huge proponent of trying to underground lines throughout the city because I think it provides, again, multiple benefits if we're able to do that.
Mr. Carroll, you have any thoughts?
No, so I had, again, I had talked to Josh about this, and, if that's what wants us to do, I don't have any problems not going along with him.
Any thoughts, Mr. Wade?
As multiple benefits, if we don't do it, it creates multiple problems, and I think we need to avoid that.
I think
in any way possible.
Yes, sir. And I think it also helps us to create an expectation that future developers that are going to come in, we're going to let them know that this is what we want to see as part of any development.
It sets a standard.
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Guzman?
I think it's a great idea because when we have bad storms and you have a power line go down, so that's an entire grid that loses power. This way, we won't have to worry about that if it's underground. The only thing I was reading about burying lines underground, do they lose some kind of capacity? Like,
You know, I've been a part of a number of discussions. I don't recall anything
that they
coming
don't
up.
lose
Yeah.
any, kind of like strength
Yeah.
wise, do they not lose? Do
I
they
don't
lose?
believe so. I know
Okay.
when I've seen like the high voltage lines,
Yeah.
I know if you want to underground those, sometimes you'll have to put in a cooling system
Right.
to keep them from overheating.
Getting,
But I've not heard anything about
Okay.
them losing any kind of latency being underground as compared to
oh,
overhead.
okay, because I remember reading somewhere, but I don't recall where, but yeah, I think it's a smart idea to put them in the ground. It's also aesthetically it's pleasing as well.
And I guess the electric company will know, I guess some lines, like you can't put underground, I guess.
Yes.
Which is a shame because it would be nice if everything
Yeah,
eventually could be
I was
underground.
gonna say, it's a good point, so we've already had this conversation, but Dominion, who runs the power in this area, will allow other utilities to co-locate in the undergrounding that they do. So Sparklight, who I believe is gonna be providing fiber to the area, but basically, there's coordination there that when they open up a trench, they'd be able to include their infrastructure as well. So we're not gonna have to deal with multiple utility companies getting the lines underground.
Well, I think, I agree with you that anytime they can go underground, they should. That's, last century's technology, and we should always be looking to the future. And also, to me, this is exactly what impact fees, development fees, whatever way you want to call it, this is exactly what they're for, for infrastructure. So I think it's a good use of the money. So I certainly have no objection to it. Now I see this is consideration. What do you need from council? A vote?
Yes, sir. Because of the dollar value involved, it's beyond my authority to appropriate those funds, but you could make a motion to appropriate, I believe it's $516,000 in reimbursement from SALT's development fees.
That exact amount, that was gonna be my next question.
Okay, and is this considered a resolution or just a vote?
It could be either way. I was gonna say, I don't think we have a formal resolution for you this evening, but a voice vote would be sufficient to give us authorization. And in talking with the staff attorney, I think what we would look to do is probably put together some just very straightforward MOU that talks about they're gonna do the work, we're gonna give them reimbursement, and we'll make sure that the work's done appropriately.
Okay, let's give the public an opportunity to weigh in on this. Anybody have any thoughts? Okay, seeing none, let's have a motion to approve, is that the right word?
Yes, sir. Motion approved.
Motion to approve the utilization of $516,000 to bury the utilities for the salt complex.
I make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, we have a motion coming out of executive session, and that motion is to approve a resolution authorizing the city manager to proceed with land acquisition. The address?
Yes, that's fine, yeah.
901 Jenkins Avenue, subject to the receipt of an appraisal that supports the purchase price outlined in the purchase sale agreement. May I have a second to this motion?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any comments by council? Let's, Mr. Carroll, any,
No, so we spent a good bit on this in executive session.
Mr. White,
No additional questions.
Mrs. Guzman?
No additional questions, sir.
I have none additional, so I will call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, so you have permission to proceed.
We're gonna have Matt do something.
Mr. Gruber, let's now have your report.
Yes, sir. I would like to invite Matt Davis, Deputy City Manager, to the podium to give an update on a number of transportation infrastructure projects that are going on around the city.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mayor, City
Good
Council.
afternoon, Matt.
Before I start on the transportation, I did want to expound a little bit on your previous agenda item. The first payment that we received from SALT, we actually used those funds to pay for the communications tower down on 17.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So, and if you recall, originally that deal was, we were going to split that cost with Jasper County, and they had made their payment to us, so we were actually able to refund them their money. And we used, so that was, so we've already used some of them, but for a very good purpose, so that
I
was
knew it
awesome.
was for something, I
Yeah.
just couldn't
So-
remember.
Mayor, you had originally, it was about 3.1 million was the contribution, and you have approximately 2 million left. So there are ample funds to
Yeah.
use towards this.
I know just the question had been asked, and I thought it was
No,
important.
thank you.
And
Thank
quite
you.
frankly, to recognize them again, that we were able to do this, and, you know, that's been a big benefit to our emergency operations, so. Okay, now as far as the transportation improvements, we have many going on in the city in various phases. So I'll just kind of go down the list, if it's okay with you. If you know, we have the left turn project on US 278 at Latitude Margaritaville and Hilton Head Lakes. That project is underway. They've pretty much, probably after this week, all the work now will be start happening at nighttime. I have noticed that has not impacted traffic to this point. So, and again, the work's going to move to the nighttime. Substantial completion should be done in March. So that one's moving along. As you know, we awarded the contract at Argent and Shortcut Jasper Station intersection. That's about a 9-month completion period with some incentives in there if they complete it in 9 months or less. Just for everyone's clarification, you know, this is a kind of a two-pronged project. The city's responsible for all the physical improvements, the new lanes, turning lanes, et cetera, at the intersection. And then immediately after that, SCDOT will come in and install the actual traffic signal. That they were coordinated. SCDOT attended our pre-construction meeting. So, you know, that's all teed up and ready to go, you know, once the physical improvements, the other physical improvements are done. We also had performed a signal warrant analysis on Argent and at Sun City there where the new overpass is. Still working through that and the results of that study, that warrant analysis with SCDOT. We'll report back on that when we know more. Also had confirmation just yesterday from SCDOT that the project to install a signal and lengthen the turn lane at US 278 and Argent Boulevard will be bid out this month. So I don't know what their time frame is as far as construction, but it is being bid this month. So that's good news. It's only about 2 years overdue, so we're excited about that.
It's this month or
Sir.
November?
No, it's this month. There was a document we were looking at, and it was not very clear, but that actually meant that it was moved up to September from November. I got that directly from
Oh, I didn't know it was November. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
semantics here.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I got
but I
it.
have that directly from
I
the
got
district
it.
engineer as of yesterday, so that is being, that project's being let this month, so that's exciting as well. The East Argent Parkway, the loop road through the East Argent tract, the rough quote for that incomplete roadway should be done by the end of this year. Would imagine that the public will be able to access that road sometime in the first half of next year. So that's moving along as well. Obviously, I think the rain certainly has done a number on them out there this summer, but they are making pretty good progress. In conjunction with that, you may recall there's a connection from Jasper Station Road to the East Argent Parkway. That's actually through the Retreat project. Probably that connection will take place sometime in the next 12 months or so. The last and final section of the Retreat is in our SRC review right now with our planning staff. So that's where that connection will be made. So that's moving along as well. And then finally, as you know, we received $8 million from Hoyer and D.R. Horton to improve the intersection at US 278 and John Smith Road. And that work is already underway to design that new intersection. And so design and permitting, we're probably looking at somewhere between 12 and 18 months to get that and then be able to put it out to bid for construction. So that's 7 projects that are moving along, not as fast as any of us would like, but they are moving forward.
Matt, that 12 to 18 months at John Smith Road
Yes, sir.
and 278, and we all know, I think there were 2 accidents at that intersection
Yeah.
last week. Does that 18 months include the installation of a light?
No,
or
sir.
just the turning,
That's just the design and the permitting.
design and permitting? So it's no construction?
Sir.
So it's 12 to 18 months for design and permitting?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I would say add 3 to 4 months on to the end of that for putting a bid package together, and then probably another 8 to 10 months for actual construction.
And we are a month to 6 weeks into that frame anyway, because, I mean, they've been working on it, so it's a little shorter than that, but, yep.
This is great.
So it's happening, not as fast as anybody would like, but it's happening.
Mrs. Guzman, you have any questions from
No, sir.
Matt? Mr. White?
No questions.
Mr. Carroll?
No, good report, Matt.
Thank you.
If I might suggest, because I get questions all the time about this, could we have it doesn't have to be every month, maybe once every couple of months, have this
An update.
5-minute report?
Absolutely.
Okay. Great, thank you.
And Mayor, just so you know, one of the things that we're working on with the new GIS staff member that we have on board is connecting our capital projects and putting together a public dashboard that if you want to check on the status of any project, you'll be able to go in there, click on it, see what the latest activities are, see photos of the project, and then understand that timeline. Because communicating this information to the public is of critical importance to us.
Great, thank you. Anything else, Josh?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's go alphabetically and start with Mr. Carroll.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I've had numerous phone calls over the last few weeks. Some I've shared with Josh and Mayor, but there's some people that, with annexations and particularly buffers, there's some people in the community that have some issues, and I have tried to answer them, and what I couldn't answer, I sent to Josh, and I tell you what, he's really been good. He's either met him talked to him on the phone, or met with him, and it means a lot, because you may not be happy sometimes with what's going on, but if you know somebody has a concern or wants to help you, it means a lot of difference. So, like I always say, it doesn't bother me for you to call me. Because if you don't call and let me know something, I don't know, so you have to call me. Also, we met last Thursday, Mr. Mayor, with LCOG, and I was voted in as chairman again, which is a huge honor. As far as I know, there's only been 2 of us from Hardyville in the last 50 years for LCOG, so it is a big honor, and I think it's, like I said, I'm real glad because the city, several times with Neil's help, have gotten a piece of the pie that Hardyville citizens did not have to pay with their tax dollars. The jail, I have gotten some calls, I have gotten people to talk to me in person, at first they were very, very concerned because they saw the 2x4 braces and the ladder and the pulling the, weeds and vegetation down, that it was gonna be torn down, but the old jail is not gonna be torn down. It is being preserved, and the people that you saw this week have really worked hard. They've, like I said, taken the vegetation down. You'll see braces all around it. So it is gonna be preserved, because that is one of the old landmarks in Hardyville. So I just wanted to make sure that the public did understand that. And speaking of public, very important, Mr. Harper's birthday was a couple of days ago, and he's been here all his life in Hardyville. He's 98.
Happy birthday, Mr. Harper.
Happy birthday, Mr. Harper.
And he certainly doesn't look it, but he's definitely an icon for this town, and we appreciate you. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, John. Ms. Guzman,
I don't have anything to say.
you have nothing to say?
Gracious, get us some water.
Mr. White, how do you follow that one?
That's a tough one. One thing that I have experienced over the last couple of weeks, like many people, watching what is happening in other parts of the country, like Minnesota and other places, with some of this violence and these kinds of things that are happening with these shooters. And Sam, one of the things that I know that someone like you is on top of that, but I think sometime over between now and the next 6 months, I would like to hear what we have in place from a regional point of view. If, God forbid, something terrible like this happened, because it sounded to me, this wasn't done on the fly. They had a lot of plans in place for these terrible things that were more regional. And so I just share that as an observation, and just like to get your thoughts on that down the road sometime.
Yes, sir. We'll work on a presentation for you, sir.
Okay. That's it for me.
Okay, I'm probably gonna take up Mrs. Guzman's minutes. First of all, I'd like to introduce to the council Mr. Doug Smith. And Doug, if you could please come to the dais here. Mr. Smith is one of the reasons why we will be constructing a new Exit 3. He has been our advisor in Columbia, and we had a meeting with him and Senator Davis at lunch today. And so he wanted to see how a real council meeting was held. And
I'm not asking for anything.
I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce him to council and offer him the chance to say a couple of words.
It'll be a couple. I served in politics for 16 years in Columbia, and trust me, chairing committees, I was ready for those always to be done, so I understand where you are. Let me just say this. I've been involved with this. Well, frankly, I feel like I've spent most of my 60s on this property and this project. But it's a project from the beginning when I was called in to try to help get it back on track with the State Infrastructure Bank. I saw as just because I knew of Hardyville and I'd been here, very involved with the Heritage Classic Foundation and the tournaments. I know everything I can know about this area and what kind of people are here and what could be done if we made a commitment and got it straightened out. And so on my way home, I called my wife and I said, look, and I live in Spartanburg, so I had a good drive. And I told her, I said, look, I'm gonna have to spend more time than you can think on this project. And that was 6 years ago. So she's ready for me to bring on the bacon. And I think, look, I'm committed to it. Obviously, I think you all know that the Riverport team is really committed to it. It's, frankly, when we started this project, when it really started was 15 years ago. And I wasn't involved then, but I can tell you then, I know O.C. Vest and some of those other guys were, and, you know, they thought this project would change Hardyville. And I think because of all of our efforts, your efforts, in previous council, because they have, you and others have made the commitment, I think way back, it started changing. And we're already seeing that now. I noticed that somebody from Salt's here. We've actually met with those guys before. We all have conjoining property, and we're gonna have to work together, but I can tell you without hesitation that our Riverport team is committed to this. And we're gonna find a way, as I mentioned to you a little while ago, to get done. I can't tell you how much, I mean, the staff has been here, so I know most of the staff, at least from way back, but I can tell you, from Prina and others, it's just a pleasure to work with y'all, all of y'all, and it always has been, and I'm looking forward to the future, because there's a lot to come.
Great. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now I'm going to take up Mrs. Guzman's time. It's been busy, as always. On the 22nd, we had the Transportation Sales Tax Committee, a regular meeting, and Jasper County is voting to hire the infrastructure consulting engineering team to manage the projects on the referendum. This is the same team that's going to be managing the widening of I-95. So there's a lot of synergies there. So that took place on Tuesday night, that vote. On the 25th, the Jasper County School District had a shareholders meetings, and the new acting superintendent, Secretary Weaver, was there, and each one of the principals, the 4 principals, came up and told about their schools, and listening to the enthusiasm and the plans for the future, I was very hopeful, and I want to extend my best wishes to all 4 of the schools in Jasper County. I think they're going to do well. There's a promising future. Soloco, we heard from the Red Cross, the Alzheimer's Walk, and one other. I forgot. What it was? Anyway, what I wanted to say about that, Team Starship Hardyville for the Alzheimer's Walk on last Saturday in October is still taking contributions and new members. I think the last time I looked, we were almost at $2,000. So we are beating Team Bluffton.
Oh, we are?
I believe we are. So that's going to give me a free lunch. So don't forget. Oh, at the new Y, which I talked about earlier. That's right. I also had a good meeting. I gave a speech to one of the Sun City neighborhoods on the 27th. I like that new format that we started at Margaritaville, just open it up for questions and answers. It was really good. Josh and I had a Zoom meeting with SC Housing. We have been working to try to get the scoring done differently for rural areas like Jasper County, because we have not been given low-income tax credits from the state, not a single project in Jasper County in 17 years. So Josh and I have been working with SC Housing and a couple of other agencies to try to get those rules changed. I'd like to welcome Burrito Express that opened up on the 29th. This is their second location. This one is down by exit 5. Their other location is by exit 8. So very nice people, and I'd like to wish them all the best. I was at the Jasper County Council meeting the other night. I spoke publicly about the child care resolution that we passed. They had some questions about it, so I went forward and tried to clear up some of the what I thought were misconceptions, and so I did speak publicly there. Yesterday, Josh and I gave a talk to the Hilton Head Island Chamber of Commerce on their monthly power hour, and we gave them an update on some of the things happening in the city, particularly along the I-95 corridor. Last night, we had our first youth council meeting of the year. Looked like a nice group of kids, and I want to thank the police department and the media department for their continued support in helping the high school kids of the local schools to conduct their business. And this morning, I had a Zoom meeting with the United Way. The United Way has been conducting a steering committee and studying certain needs in the area. This has been going on. I've attended, I don't know how many hours of meetings since March. And it looks like they're finally concentrating on 2 areas, housing and education. So there'll be more, once that gets more clarified, I'll have someone come forward and explain what the next steps are going to be in that. So they've been trying, a lot of people are involved, from the Low Country Foundation, Agape, the Low Country Legal Volunteers, the United Way. There's a lot of the Beaufort Jasper Housing Trust. A lot of people from a lot of different agencies around the area have been involved in this. And that's it. That's all I did. So having said that, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn, Mr. Mayor.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Any objections? None? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Good night, everyone, and thank you for coming. Happy birthday, Mr. Harper.